I started working out with a trainer. I was turning 30 and I wanted to be fabulous for my 30th birthday. So I started working out with a trainer at a local gym, and we had a pretty intense exercise regimen, and we were doing some plyometric exercises, and we did one exercise that caused my leg to basically plant in the ground, and it twisted out and my knee popped. I heard it and felt it pop 3 times. And I automatically knew that it was my knee. I've always had bad knees because I played softball growing up. And this was just sort of the straw that broke the camel's back for me. So after about a month, I went and visited with a surgeon, and he said, "You've got a torn ACL." And so I had to have surgery. So I had surgery, and then I looked for a place that I was comfortable with and visited several places and ended up at First Colony Aquatic. Actually, the business manager here, his daughter and I happened, and totally randomly, happened to grow up together. And so when I met him, I felt a connection. And so I was very comfortable here. The proximity to my house as well as proximity to my job made me feel comfortable getting here in a timely fashion. So that's why I chose this place. I thought physical therapy was just going to hurt. And so my understanding was that it was just going to be pure hell for as long as it was. And when I got here, the first day I had the biggest success story because I got here and it didn't hurt as bad as I thought. And I was 3 days out of surgery, and everybody was very encouraging of me, and it didn't hurt as bad as I thought. For somebody young and active like I am, I've always been an athlete, and I was working out in the gym 5 to 6 times a week. And for somebody like that who is sitting idle for 2 months and then has surgery and then knows that they're going to be idle for months after that, it's debilitating in the worst way. And so you need somebody who's going to encourage you to become your best again. And you come in at your lowest point, and so you need somebody to get you to start thinking positively. And so the encouragement for me was probably more than the physical achievement. So my regimen for my doctor was pretty stringent. He required me to come to therapy at least 3 times a week. And then I had to go on the off days to a local gym and do the same exercises plus some other things that he prescribed. So when I was here, it was an hour-long session. I would start with riding the bike or attempting to ride the bike. And for someone like me, that was hard because I am a cyclist. And so I've done the MS 150 from Houston to Austin several times. And so being on a bike and not being able to get your leg around, there were definitely tears. So you'd start with that for 10 minutes, and then you start doing some stretching exercises, and the exercises got more intense as the hour went by. And by the end, your leg or at least for me, my leg felt worn out, but at least I felt like I had more mobility towards the end. So that's the program here. The program at home is doing some exercises that you did in the session as well as some additional things. For me, I would swim. I didn't use the pool here because I was put by my doctor on a land-based therapy, but I would do the pool when I was at home, and that was my therapy there. There was my favorite exercise was what I called the ski board. I don't really know if that's what it's called, but it's a board that you get on probably halfway through your therapy sessions, and you have to learn how to glide your legs from one end to the other end, and it's sort of on a slope. And it basically tests how strong your knee is at that point to see if you can push off of the weaker leg to go on to the stronger leg. And by asking a lot of questions and getting great answers from the people here, I learned that was a new technology that they had not employed in the previous years. And so I was really excited that I was getting to try out new technology and testing out anatomy in a way that probably hadn't been tested before. Encouragement for me was 90% of my battle. Being someone who's very physical, you know that at some point you can get there, but the 90% is knowing that you can and trusting yourself that you can. So a lot of times there was this one exercise that we would do every single day where you would attach your leg to a pulley and have to pull your own leg kind of towards you, and it was painful because when you have an ACL reconstruction like I did, you don't have range of motion, and so to have to pull your own leg is not only scary, but it's painful. And having somebody sitting right next to me letting me know, you made half a degree more than you did yesterday, just those little pieces of encouragement go so far for somebody who just wants to get better. And so for me, it was everything. I never thought I would be in a position where I would be physically incapable of doing the things that I did every day. I couldn't drive a car for 4 weeks because it was my right knee that was hurt. I couldn't do basic things like going to the kitchen to make myself a glass of water when I was using crutches. So having to come into therapy and rely on somebody else to get you better, there's a trust component there that I probably never had. I'm somebody who was raised by 2 amazing parents, but they always instilled in us, my sister and I, the need to do for yourself. And when I was unable to do for myself, when you have to rely on somebody else, you have to learn to trust. And so for me, coming here was exactly what I needed to get me to understand that life lesson. So even though it hurt, and even though it was an uncomfortable part of my life, I'm very grateful for the experience because of that. First Colony Aquatic is in an excellent location. With an expanding area like Fort Bend County, anybody who has a need for therapy should come here because it's at the cross-section of a very busy Highway 59, which can get you anywhere in Houston, as well as 90, which is a thoroughfare for a lot of the newer areas in town. So the location is excellent. Additionally, it feels like a family here. There are a small amount of therapists, and you traditionally work with 2 or 3 people during all of your sessions, which is great because you build rapport and they know how you're doing. Also, the cost was great for me. It worked out very well for my insurance. And the other reason I came is because I really liked the technology that they had here. It's nice to know that people are being innovative, and I always felt like I was getting the best treatment in the most innovative way when I was getting my treatment here. So I had a very unique experience. When I was here, I would typically come in the 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. hour. And there was a gentleman who was here with me who was in the military, and he had lost both of his legs. So to see somebody go through that while you're here, the fear factor for you has to automatically disappear out of your head. To know that they had the quality and the caliber of people such as a soldier for our country let me know that I was in a great place. And to watch him go through what he was going through every day, it made me not as scared to go through the small pain that I was feeling, knowing that he was at the beginning of the fight of his life. Now, that's just my experience. I think everybody has had different experiences as well. I wouldn't wish what I went through on anybody, quite frankly. But when you meet the people here who have testimonials that move you to tears sometimes, you really just have to go through it until it's done. And so for me, there was never a fear factor. It was just a matter of getting it done and becoming whole again. I'm eternally grateful for what they've done for me. There are still days that my knee hurts. That's not because of them. That's just because that's the nature of the beast. But from the techniques that I've learned here, I'm able to make myself feel better at home using those techniques, using those exercises that I learned. And I will always consider the people here family because they got me through probably one of the toughest times of my life. So I would always recommend this place to anybody.